investing. Look, today, guys, I want to share with you guys how I went from a 460 credit score and over six figures in debt to netting millions of dollars in just 2 years, buying land and building houses, and how we scaled into multifamily. So let's take this from the top here. You guys are going to take some great notes on this today, because nobody on this earth, well, I should say nobody on this earth, very few of you guys. If there's a handful of you guys on this earth that will go through what I put myself through, then you deserve all the winnings in the world. But the reality is you don't have to go through this. But I want to explain to you what I had to go through to get here, so that there's like this spread, right? Like this is what our community is doing, because this is the reality of how you should have done it. And if I would have known then what I know now, I would have done it this way. But I didn't, and so I did it the hard way. But the hard way, less than 0.1% of all people wouldn't put themselves through the agony that I put myself through. And so for that purpose, I want to share with you guys the spread, the difference between that, because it's viable, right? Like I sit back and I teach it this way. I go, just do this. Commit to the process, man. Just commit to the process of being a real estate investor. This is how it's done. This is how you get money. I know it's non-traditional in your mind mentally because they don't teach it in school, but just because they don't teach it in school doesn't make it wrong. It just means that our schools are jacked up and you're supposed to be doing things the way banks do it, right? So like you think about a casino and you think, how do casinos make billions of dollars, ladies and gentlemen? The reason casinos make billions of dollars is because they have house rules. And if you play by the house rules, you have the benefit of having the odds in your favor. And so the way the casinos win is that they play by the rules that keep the odds in their favor. And it's the rules that most people don't know. So you have to like buy books, you have to research, you have to understand how to go in and play against the house. That's why they hate like these MIT grads and stuff, because they understand how to count cards, they understand how to be able to play against the house, and then the odds go in their favor. And so that's why they kick those type of people out of the casinos, because they take money from the casinos. So if you think about this from a perspective of how do you play to put the odds in your favor? That's how banking works. That's why banks, they're in the business of lending money to make money, guys. And so if you as an investor think like a bank, like, hey, I'm in the business to invest money to make money, just like a bank, right? Different industry, maybe slightly different investment strategy, but you play like the house. The house is the bank, okay? So when you play by the banking rules, you just have to understand the banking rules as good as the banks understand them. So all I do, guys, people sit back and go, Jerome, you made millions of dollars in real estate. No shit. I learned what the banks do. I'm no genius. All I did is duplicate what's working for the banks. Most people sit back and feel like the banks are working against them. Like they're sitting back going, okay, the bank's against me. No, the bank's in partnership with you. Think in alignment with the banks, guys. That's how you get shit done, is you think in alignment with the banks. You don't go against the banks. If you go against the banks, the house is in their favor, guys. Function like you're the bank. Function to put yourself to be in control of the house, guys. So this is how I did it, okay? Let me explain to you guys. I used to resist the banks, okay? Now, I went out, I started pouring concrete. No one will go through this shit. And what lands up happening is I landed up going in and say, okay, I made some money, making like $20,000 a month, pouring concrete slabs, foundations, walkways, colored stamped patios in concrete in 1998. And I'm doing this, right? And on Sundays, I didn't have work for my guys on Monday morning. So I would tell my girlfriend, who's my wife now, I would tell her, hey, I'll be back later today. And she'll, what time do you think you'll be back? I said, when I have work for Monday. And then I would go out and I would go sell jobs all weekend, and I go knock on doors and I would sell jobs to people all weekend long in the new growing subdivisions, areas where the most affluency was in our area. And I would sell concrete jobs. And so that money landed up accumulating into what I call freezer money, because I had like over 100 grand in the bank from cash jobs when you're doing concrete work back in the 90s. And then I had a little bit of money. I had another like 70 grand in the bank that I had saved up, and it still wasn't enough to buy a piece of land, and it still wasn't enough to build an entire house. And no matter how much I'd make, I still didn't have enough. But I had a little owner finance deal that I had purchased a little rental property on that I was able to go get a bank loan on and collateralize it. But because my credit was so bad, the bank was only willing to give me like 50 to 60% of the equity in that house. So I was able to pull a little tiny bit of money out of that house, and they wouldn't give me a full mortgage because my credit was jacked up. But they collateralized the house, gave me like $70,000. Then I had a little bit of money in the bank, and then I went and I did an owner finance deal on the land. So the land was only $35,000 at that time, but that's $35,000 more dollars I was able to keep in my pocket and utilize somebody else's land to go and finance it. So you got to think most people think very linear. And in fact, I was just at lunch with Rick and a bunch of friends and colleagues and students right here in San Francisco, because we're getting ready to go live at our Build Wealth workshop here in San Francisco. So there was like 6 of us at lunch, and they were asking me a few questions. And I go, the problem is most people think linear. They only think one way, unidirectional. That's the only way. There's like 6 different ways to do any given deal. And you have to think outside the box a little bit and say, okay, if I do this one way, that could work, but is it the best way? And you go, okay, I could do this other way, but is that the best way? And then I think of this other way. That way won't work. This other way won't work. Okay, so we start hacking away at things that don't work. But maybe there's like 3 or 4 different ways you can get a deal done, and now you got to figure out which is the safest and which is the best way to get that deal done. So back then I said, okay, I can owner finance the land, maybe put like $5,000 down on the land to owner finance it. Now I still have $30,000 on a $35,000 lot that gets owner finance. Now I got $70,000 from a home equity line of credit that I got from an owner finance deal on a rental house that I had that the bank wouldn't give me full collateralization, but they'd give me a home equity line of credit on. So I get 70 grand there. Then I have another 100 grand that I have in the bank, but I still am about 80 grand short of where I'm supposed to be. So what do? Where do you get the other 80 grand? You pour concrete. You don't sit back and go, okay, most people sit back and they want to have all the money anteed up like poker chips in the bank, right? They want to have all the money there. Not me. I think outside the box. I say, okay, the build's going to take me 4 to 5 months. So that gives me 4 to 5 months. I can just go out and make 20 grand a month pouring concrete. So that's 20, 40, 60, 80. I got 4 months to be able to make $20,000 each month. I could sell concrete jobs to get the rest of the money to build the rest of the house. By the time I get to the back end, I'll use the money that I need on the front end to get the house going, and I'll pour concrete for the next 4 months, and fuck it, I'll just eat McDonald's or whatever the hell. I'll eat beans in a crock pot for the next 4 months and protein shakes, in those days, and that was it. And who cares, right? I'm building my future. I'm getting freaking rich. Who cares about eating steak and prime? You guys are too busy about going, oh, I'm going to go down to Ruth Chris, or I'm going to go have my KY, what the fuck, no, like KY jelly, what is it, those AK5 Japanese Wagyu. You guys are too worried about living the lifestyle now. Screw the lifestyle now. Go get rich first, then you have a lifestyle for the rest of your life. So I wasn't worried about that. I was eating beans out of a crock pot, rice, and whatever the hell else, and I was taking my money, and I was using 100% of it to get rich. That's what I was doing. And so I would go in, I start the build. I didn't have enough money to do the build, to finish the build, but I had health, guys. I had health. And I was able to go in and use sweat equity to go in and pour concrete. So I'd sell jobs, I'd bank the money. Sell jobs, bank the money. Sell jobs, bank the money. Sell jobs, pay off a roofer. Sell jobs, pay off the landscaper. Sell jobs, pay off the doors. Sell jobs, pay off whatever it was. Once I got to the end, I was able to get the build done. And it was tight, guys. It was tight. There was times the checks bounced. And then I would pour concrete all weekend long on a check that bounced on a Friday to be able to pay that check on Monday. And I would go in and I'd get it done. Okay? Now, what does the smart person do to do the second house? Now I sell, I have a house finished. Now I made the money. So now I have enough money when I sell that house to do one full house, no problem. I made the money doing the first house. Now I had $110,000 profit. So now I have all the money I need to build a second house, and I have an extra $110,000 that I made on the house before. So what do? You go build one house? No, you go build 2 houses, guys. I didn't have enough money to build 2 houses. I only had enough money to build one house, guys. And I had $110,000 that I made from the first house in profit. And I would go owner finance the other $35,000 to go buy another lot. So then I go buy another lot through owner finance. I have $110,000. I have all the money for the second house. But now I have to get back to work because now I'm still short on having enough money. So what do? I need to do 2 houses now, guys. I did 2 houses. I did 1 house in 4 months, sold it on month number 6. I had 6 months left in the year. And instead of doing 1 house, I said, I'm going to get 3 done and sold before the end of the year. I go ante up for 2 more houses, and I go out and I have enough money to get them started, and I go pour more concrete, guys. I go pour more concrete. How do I get my concrete company, instead of doing 20 grand a month, to get to 30 grand a month? I better hire some more employees, because now I have to sell some commercial work. And I'm going to go out and I'm going to start bidding some golf courses, and I'm going to go bid a Walgreens, and I'm going to go bid at that time it was an Ultimate Electronics, if you guys remember Ultimate Electronics, and I'm going to go bid a Blockbuster Video, because in that day there was still Blockbuster Videos. And so now I'm bidding commercial jobs night and day, and I'm putting another crew together to get my concrete income from 20 grand a month to 30 grand a month, because I don't only just need 80 grand now I need 120 grand. So I have 4 months, 30, 60, 90, 120, 4 months. I had to make 120 grand in 4 months. And I had to do it doing concrete, because it was the only way I knew. And my credit was still bad. So now I went in and I got my concrete company making $30,000 a month, and I had to ante up on how to figure out how to do that. I had to get more employees. I had to sell more work. I had to get more active out there so that I could do 2 houses, because I didn't have enough money to do it. So I went out and I did concrete work, guys. I got to the end of the 2 builds. And when I got to the end of the 2 builds, ladies and gentlemen, what happened? As I didn't have enough money, checks were bouncing again even after the next 2 builds, because I was just running out of cash at the end. But I was able to get enough concrete jobs, guys, done to be able to pay off those 2 houses. Then I got the houses sold. I paid off whoever I still owed some lingering money to at the end of the builds, because that was the reality of it. There was some lingering money of $10,000, $5,000 that I just didn't make in the concrete company. So I paid that stuff off. Then I went out and I just didn't do 2 houses. Now I rolled that money and I did 4. Guys, now I had enough money, because I earned enough money through my concrete company to do 2 full houses, plus I sold 2 houses. So now I had $220,000 in profitability plus the 110. So I had $310,000 from the $330,000 from the 3 houses, plus I made enough money to build the other 2 houses. So I had enough money to build almost 3 homes, but didn't have enough money to build the 4th house, guys. I didn't have enough money to build the 4th house. Had enough money to get through 3 houses, but not 4. But fuck it, I did 4 anyways. And how did I do it? I had to go in and ante up, guys. Owner financed the land, go through 3 houses. I staggered them. 4 weeks apart from each other. And the way I figured it is I could make enough money pouring concrete to get half of the 4th build done while I was doing the other one, and then I would sell the other 2 houses off early, so in hope that one sold. So I used the cash from the 1st house to finish the 4th house, so that way I could get all 4 homes done. And then when I got to the end of the 4th house, guys, I was bouncing checks again. And I was sitting in a position where I was trying to steal from Peter to pay Paul, because I was running out of capital to build the 4 houses cash, guys, and banks wouldn't lend me money. And I didn't know about building business credit at that time. So where does all this stuff come from? When you search my YouTube channel and Jerome says, hey, build business credit. Now it seems like, hey, build business credit. I didn't know this stuff back then. So I did it the hard way, guys. And I did 4 houses. Now, we're only 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We're 17 months into building, guys. 17 months. And I've done 4 homes, 2 homes, and 1 home. So we've done 7 homes, guys, in 17 months. And we're just pounding these things out. And I'm pouring concrete, using my business, still living on beans and rice, guys. Still living on beans and rice, living out of a crock pot, living in a trailer, guys. I was making millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands, and I was living in a trailer park. Because I didn't want to go buy a house, because if I had to go buy a house, I had to invest in that house, and it was going to take from my working capital. Some of you guys are too worried. You're too friggin' worried about showing off the new Mercedes Benz. You guys are too worried about having to go out and show off your brand new home in your nice subdivision. You're too worried about having to go off and show off a Rolex that you don't deserve and shouldn't fucking own. And you're too worried about what other people think, and you're trying to show off before you've got there. I didn't give a shit. I went out and I continued living in a trailer park where my rent was $165 a month to rent the spot for my trailer. I landed up buying a big ass diesel truck. I begged for a loan. If you guys have heard the story, there was a lady named Joanne in my credit union when I was 15 that I took her to, and Joanne told me, I sat with Joanne, I said, Joanne, I need a work truck. I need a work truck. I need to buy this truck. It was like $35,000. It was a Dodge Ram 3500 dually, big 4-wheel drive truck. It was a 1999. I still remember it. And it was like, I was like, damn, that was like the Pimp Daddy truck that cost me over 100 grand today to drive. But I landed up buying that one. Couldn't afford all the wood trim. So, I bought like, you remember those little sticker packages that were actually plastic, but you peeled them off and it made it look like wood in your car? I wanted it to look like Pimp style, right? So I buy this brand new truck. I wanted all the wood trim, couldn't afford the wood trim. So I went and bought the plastic ones that you pull off the stickers, put them on your little doors so it looks like wood. And then I was pimping, right? Like I had the wood trim. It was glue-on wood trim, but I still had the wood trim in my truck. And I remember sitting down with Joanne. Joanne goes, Jerome, your credit is horrible. She goes, I can't lend you the money for the truck. And I go, Joanne, I need the truck. Look, we're growing. Look, I'm making money, Joanne. Please lend me the money. She goes, all right. She goes, let me talk to Conrad. Conrad was the president of the credit union. Conrad comes out. And I still remember sitting on the side of it in a chair, looking up at Conrad. Conrad sitting at a desk, and he's sitting on the desk, and he's looking down at me like if I was this little boy. And I was kind of a little boy. I was still in my 20s, right? My mid-20s. And I remember Conrad staring down at me, and he goes, okay, Jerome, why should I lend you this money for this truck? And I go, Conrad, I'm going to pay you back, Conrad. I promise I'm going to pay you back, Conrad. And Conrad said, if you don't pay me back, we're going to have some issues, okay? And then Joanne looks at me, and she's like, Jerome, if you don't pay me back, I vouch for you, I'm going to kill you. She told me like that. We're going to get you the loan. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you. And so I get the loan. I get my pickup truck, guys, but I'm still living in this trailer. 4 homes, 17 months, 7 homes total in 17 months, over $770,000 in net profitability, 17 months, guys. I went from 4 homes to 8 homes. And now I went in and asked Joanne. I said, well, Joanne lent me money the first time. I built 4 more homes. I went and talked to Joanne just a few months later. And I said, hey, Joanne, I need some money. And I went back to Joanne and I go, Joanne, will you please give me, I had bought another rental house on owner finance. And I go, it worked the first time. I'm going to pull out a home equity line of credit on the second house that I bought. And now I want to go to 8 homes. I had $770,000, could build 2 more, had enough affordability to build 6, maybe 7 homes, but not the second half of the 7th, and surely not the 8th house. And so I went back in. I said, Joanne, will you give me a home equity line of credit on this house? Joanne goes back, it's almost like deja vu from a few months earlier. And Joanne comes back with Conrad. Conrad comes back out and goes, Jerome, you haven't even paid us back on your truck. You've only made 3 payments. Why should I lend you money on this house? Your credit is still horrible. And I told him, Conrad, I just paid off all my subsidized loans for my student loans that I was delinquent on. I still owe my unsubsidized, but I pay all of my subsidized loans. I'm paying all my bad credit off. Everything's going real good. I showed him my financials. My dad did my books. So thank God he was my accountant. And so I squeezed another $100,000 in a home equity line of credit out from Conrad and Joanne. And Joanne looked at me one more time. She goes, Jerome, you owe me on the truck and this thing and this house. If you don't pay us back, she goes, I'm going to kill you. And then she goes, oh, P.S. by the way, my brother has a house. My brother's name is Bobby Shue. For those of you guys who don't know who Bobby Shue is, you can Google him. Bobby Shue, which her name is Joanne Shue, not like the shoe, it's like S-H-E-W or something like that is how you spell it. But Bobby Shue was this big trumpet player. And if you guys Google it, he's on every Yamaha box of trumpets that were made by Yamaha forever. And Bobby Shue's this big world-renowned jazz player. I had no idea this was her brother. So now I'm building houses, and now Joanne's like believing in me. And so I got this lady that's believing in me, and she goes, my brother Bobby Shue just moved back from Japan. He bought a house here locally. She goes, he just built a house, and he needs some work done. Can you go give my brother Bobby a price? And so I go, sure. So I go into one of the wealthiest areas in town, and her brother Bobby comes in, and he spends like over $100,000 in concrete work and landscaping, and you did the swim spa, and he was huge, big, giant guy, man, overweight, good dude. And so now I'm doing work for her brother, her family, and now because of Bobby Shue's relationship, he's referring business in this affluent area of town, and I'm getting work from her brother, Bobby, and it was great, right? So 2 years later, guys, now we're doing 12 homes, and we did over $1.4 million in revenue that year. Year number two, guys, year number two. I hit millionaire status. And that's where I start fixing my credit and things go gangbusters. That's where we start really scaling, guys. But man, what a commitment, right? Like, how many of you guys are willing to put yourself through that? And I mean, I'm just telling you guys the fluff story of it, that doesn't show the agony. It doesn't show when it's 105 degrees out there and I'm selling work and I'm pouring concrete at 8 o'clock at night with headlights from pickup trucks because I have to get that job done to get a check the next day. Because if I don't get that check the next day, I can't pay my roofers, and they're going to be pissed. And they're not going to do work for me anymore because I've already bounced a check on them. Like, I'm not telling you all the other stuff that's going on the backside. I'm just telling you this, like, oh, that's cool, Jerome just went and sold jobs. No. That's not the whole thing, guys. That's not the whole story. The whole story, there's a lot of little stories in that big story, okay? And most of them are temperature taking stories. So we sit back. Now here's the reality of today, guys. The reality of the day is you can go back and be Jerome in 1998, or you could be Jerome in 2025. And the Jerome of 2025 sits back and tells you guys, look, the second you make a decision to invest in real estate, get an LLC and start your business lines of credit immediately. Because the second you do that, you're already setting up to do your 2 homes in a row. And you're starting from your first house. Your first house, we're going to get you guys hard money. We're going to get you guys private money. We're going to get you guys institutional money. We're going to get you guys a construction loan. You're going to get either an owner build construction loan, or you're going to go out and hire a general contractor and get a traditional construction loan, investment loan to do it. So there's like 5 or 6 different ways that we're going to get you guys in the game. And all of those ways are going to cost you a little bit more because there's a gateway to entry, and that's the reality of it, ladies and gentlemen, is there's a bandwidth, a gateway to entry. And truth be told, that bandwidth of entry is going to take a little bit of the profitability out of your first couple builds, but it gets you in the game. And then we're setting you up immediately to go be business lines of credit. And so that way, when you're done with your first one, think about it this way. Most businesses, 95% of businesses fail in their very first year. Out of the 5% that make it, 98% of them don't bear a profit for the first 2 years. So 5% of the businesses that make it don't make any money for 2 years, guys. You build one house your very first year, you get a construction loan. You sell that house for $750,000. When the bank asks you what's your gross annualized revenue for your business, you put $750,000 first year. What is your net profit? Even if you only make $100,000 on your first build, you're in the top 1/20th of 1% of all businesses since the history of Adam and Eve. And those are real numbers, guys. So now you go in, you're one of the most successful businesses in the world because you bear a profit in your very first year of 6 figures, over 100 grand. And some people sit back and go, well, I can't get business line of credit. Bullshit. Yes, you can. You just aren't doing it right. So you have to start from day one, because then when you say, how much money did you net your first year? 110, 130, 150, whatever it is. Not only did you do $750,000 in gross revenue on one house, guys. We're not putting spaceships on the moon. We're talking houses, guys. It's a house. And then you take that and you make $100,000 on your first one. Now you're getting some momentum, guys. Now you have the ability. Not only do you have the ability to get a construction loan and the know-how, but you have business lines of credit. Then now you add that business line of credit like it's its own social security number with that employer identification number. And now we start the ball rolling. Now we get 2 more going. And then you continue parlaying that business line of credit and leveraging it. The only way to lose a business line of credit, there's 2 ways. One, not paying it and they take it away from you, or not using it. Having it and not using it, they'll also take it away from you. So you're forced to have to use your business line of credit to keep it. And so you have to use it. It's a rule in the business line of credit world, in the business world. You have to use your business line of credit or they take it from you. So use it to grow and scale, guys. And that is the reality of how you scale from one house to millions of dollars and ultimately take it and scale into multifamily. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot packed into that little bit of video. If you're rewatching, then comment below #repeat and go back and watch this video 2 or 3 times, guys. If you want more content on how we actually buy land, build houses, generate strong 6-figure profits, and how we go in and we scale people into multifamily, and how I've been able to go in and now we're building assets that are institutional assets that are 200 plus unit developments, then click and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content just like this. Pound that thumbs up button, give me a little bit of love. But until next time, continue compounding your success. God bless you guys and have a great day.